like me and you waited till the last minute to watch season 4 of Insecure before season 5 came out, and then realized you didn't have enough time before season 5, and then realized that either you weren't going to watch it until you finished watching season 4, or you watched season 5 and had no idea what the hell was going on. Girl, irregardless of why you here, if you need a recap of season 4 of Insecure, you in the right place. Okay? I got you. Let's get into it. What's up, YouTube? How you feeling? How you living? What's good? It's your girl Francine. Today is Wednesday. I'm about 4 days late for this video. I'm also 3 days early for the new episode. So if you watch season 5, episode 1 of Insecure, you may not need this recap, or you may do. Who knows? But I just want to be here to help y'all out, because I was supposed to do this video before last Sunday, and your girl been busy. But I'm here now. I'm here now. And also in my last video yesterday, I said I was gonna have 2 videos today. Y'all can already tell that's not gonna happen, but we're gonna have one tomorrow. Yeah. With that being said, like I said, we're gonna be doing season 4 of Insecure. If you know anything about this season, you know it's the longest season of this show, so that's why it took me so long. Like literally it was only 2 extra episodes, but for some reason that took forever to get through. And 2, this one, in my opinion, got like the most stuff in it next to the first season. Okay, like there's a lot going on, and honestly, even if you did watch season 4 already and don't need this recap, just listen to me talk shit about Molly, because that's what we about to do. Yeah, I have a vendetta. After this season, I want to fight her. Okay, I'm not even her friend, and I want to be her ass. All right. So if you're here for anything, you here for that. And if you was on her side in this situation, girl, bye. Okay, bye. You need therapy just like she do. Okay, so let's get into it. We're gonna start from episode 1 as per usual, and we got 10 whole episodes to get into, so we might as well start now. But first, if you haven't hit that subscribe button already, I'm gonna keep asking you to, so you might as well do it, because I keep asking, and like I feel like that's not a lie. You know what I mean? I'm giving you my best right now. I just need you to hit one button. The rest of you. And if you like this video, if you like me, come back for more and hit that like button. Let's get into it. So first episode, we start off with Issa staying on the phone to somebody. We don't know who she's talking to. She don't F with Molly no more. And that's a great start, because we find out very, very soon why she is not F with Molly anymore. First episode essentially gets into Issa, as we know from season 3, promoting this block party that she is now doing. If I'm not mistaken, the first episode was 4 months from her block party. She is still working with Condola in regards to planning everything, and come to find out in this episode, Issa learns that she dating Lawrence, and Tiffany kind of sort of knew about it. If you do not remember, Condola and Tiffany were friends, and apparently Tiffany was under the impression that there wasn't really a good match. It wasn't gonna go nowhere, so she didn't think it was that big of a deal. But apparently they're in a very serious relationship at this point, and Condola kind of feels weird about it, which like yeah, I feel that. Like if I find out that one of the people that I'm working closely with used to date my now present boyfriend for 5 years, I'd be kind of weirded out. Yeah, so she's obviously weird about it. In the first episode, they have a mixer kind of promoting her block party to sponsors, etc. And it kind of goes haywire. Molly is not being very supportive. As I said, we are bashing Molly throughout this episode, okay? And throughout this season. But Molly is not being the most supportive friend. It seems like there's a rift between them two. Like it seems like Molly is in her own little corner, in her own little chair, and Issa's dealing with the stress of her obviously big chunk of things to do for this block party. And Molly seems like she just want to be doing her, and it doesn't really seem like she wants to be helpful to Issa, as well as the fact that they have this kind of back and forth about, you know, whether or not Molly's, you know, really going to be really good with this guy Andrew, who she is now dating. And you know, you crack jokes with your friends, and you may like say something about your friends, and it seemed like she took it seriously. So And it seems like, you know, Molly in the first episode finds out that Andrew's dating other people, which they hadn't really made anything solid at that point. And, you know, she tells Issa's like, hey, don't get too crazy, because, you know, sometimes you be getting crazy. And she took that to heart, talking about, oh, you not being real with yourself. And it's like, girl, you're not being real with yourself. And that's like most of the first episode. It's just Issa having this mixer, Molly being Molly. We gonna keep talking about how Molly be Molly. Next episode, Issa is 3 months away from her block party, and she's still cool with Condola. They kind of joke about Lawrence, and it's kind of seems like they're trying to make it not awkward, as it would be, understandably. And mostly this episode is the riff, like the kind of love triangle between Issa, Condola, and Lawrence. And Lawrence is like, hey, don't be talking to my girl about me. I want her to find out about me from herself. Which, okay, I can kind of understand it. But like I said, this is just a three-way situation that I don't think I'm mature enough to be in, because it would just make me real awkward. And as an already awkward person, hence the name of my channel, I don't like being in awkward situations because it makes me uncomfortable. But she was able to do that, and I give her credit and kudos. And it seems like Molly, again, being Molly, is trying to get Andrew to open up to her. She's officially gotten him to kind of make it exclusive, and he doesn't want to open up, and she's spazzing out on him. She's getting upset, and Issa's like, yeah, like, just let him be him. Like, why are you always trying to find a problem? It doesn't have to be a problem. He just may not be that good at opening up to people. And then Molly gets extremely upset again, and it seems like her and Issa are getting distant from each other, because it seems like Molly wants to be right, and Issa, though sometimes she don't be saying things in the proper way, I guess maybe because I can relate more to her, I think that she didn't really say anything too bad. She was just like, yo, why you always being negative? Why you always trying to see the bad and everything? And she's like, why are you saying this about me? You don't know, you always doing this and that. And they become more and more distant. Issa is also trying to find an opening, a headlining act for her block party, and she gets Schoolboy Q. I'm a huge fan, so I was like, oh yes. And then we get to the next episode, and it is Thanksgiving. This episode gets kind of messy, okay? So for each person's Thanksgiving, Issa goes to her mom's house, but her mom's boyfriend gets hurt, so she goes out with her brother, and they have Mexican for Thanksgiving. So, you know, it's cute. Molly's with her family. Apparently, she's still mad at her dad, even though he cheated on her mom years ago. She had no idea, and now all of a sudden, she mad at him. I mean, I think about it this way. If I found out my dad cheated on my mom 20 years ago, it made me think of him different. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think I'd take it to heart as much as she did, especially since what her brother said. It happened to her, and she's not her mom, and she's not that upset. So why the hell are you so upset? Anyway, and Issa was supposed to come to Molly's house in order to get some pie, but Issa does not show up because they're getting distant. And as Molly says, things have been off for a while. And finally, Lawrence and Condola have a Friendsgiving, and Lawrence finds out that Condola was kind of seeing him as a F-buddy by her friend. And she was like, no, that's not it. And then she talks about how she was divorced before. She doesn't want to get married again. And he was like, are you over your ex? And she was like, are you over your ex? And it was like, ooh. Yikes. And that is pretty much the end of that episode, and we get into episode 4. We are 1 month away from the block party. Molly and Issa still aren't talking like that, and Tiffany has her baby, and we have baby duty, so they all go over there to help Tiffany with her baby. And as you can kind of tell throughout the season, she's dealing with some postpartum depression, and you see it in this episode, not as much. But you can see that she's like tired, and she's like, oh, that baby don't even like me like that. And I've never had kids, but I've heard postpartum depression is a lot. So that you see little inklings of that in this episode. But of course, we have to make it about Issa and Molly. So Lawrence is at Tiffany's house as well because he's friends with Derek, and he talks with Issa. They seem like they're joking and having a good time with each other. They're still cool, right? And Molly sees this and, you know, kind of feels some type of way, like, oh yeah, she's talking about me. Look what she is. She messy. She always messy. And it seems like Molly is taking a lot to heart that I don't really think was meant to be anything, but you know, when you try to find a reason to be mad, you will find one. Trust me, been there, okay? And at the end of this episode, we found out that Schoolboy Q cancels. He can't make it. And so, you know, Issa's trying to find people, and she finds a guy who's with Live Nation. Apparently Andrew works for Live Nation, who's Molly's boyfriend. She calls him. Molly is like, hey, can you talk to him, see if he can get me this connect with this guy? And she's like, no, I don't want to mix the two things together. I don't mix my relationship and my friendships together. No. Now, here's the thing. I don't think like that. So maybe to me, that seems very harsh, because it does. It seems to me like she has been feeling some type of way for a while and doesn't want to help her friend out. Not because she doesn't want to mix the two together, but because she just doesn't want to help her out. Which makes you a bad friend in my opinion. We can debate about that in the comments. But the point being, after this, Issa finds a way to get this artist, because her and Nathan started talking again. I think I might be jumping ahead of episodes. But her and Nathan starts talking again. Nathan talks to Andrew, and Andrew gets the act for her because duh, like obviously he was going to help her out. I don't know why she was making it such a big deal. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. But in the next episode, and the person she was talking on the phone with about her not being cool with Molly was Nathan. She was like, yo, we're not cool no more. I don't know what's going on. I don't really F with her like that. And we get to the block party. Now, all right, my battery died. I guess it was like Rochette. Anyway, it is the day of the block party, and Condola has also been MIA because again, come to find out, her and Lawrence broke up. She felt kind of weird, but you know, she came by to make sure the vendors were okay. She has Issa has an intern who's helping her out or whatever, and the block party starts off a little not great. Now a lot of people show up, and she starts feeling kind of concerned. But long story short, it ends up working out. Before the block party, we see Molly. She's like, hey, yo, Issa didn't show up to my event. Why would I show up to her event? Like, I want some petty stuff. And Andrew's like, of course you're going to go. Like, that's your friend. Of course you're going to go. And she's like, yeah, I guess. And she shows up at the block party, and it's supposed to be a good time. And come to find out, they start dancing together. It's a good, like, the block party ends up being a good time. She gets Vince Staples. Vince Staples performs, and that's when Molly finds out that the way she got Vince Staples is that Andrew helps her out because she was talking to Nathan. And Molly gets extremely upset. And this is where I say, F her, we would never be friends again. Because here's T. Yes, y'all been off for a minute. Y'all haven't really been y'all been kind of distant. Seems like, you know, Issa's trying to do her own thing. She's obviously stressed out about this block party. She obviously has had a lot going on. Maybe that's why she hasn't been as present. You obviously, I mean, throughout the beginning of this season, she's dealing with a lot for work, and it's kind of have Andrew waiting around for her because she's so busy for work. So it's like, you understand that sometimes people don't have the time and energy to be there for you as much as they can be, and she needed your help and you said no. So she found another way to deal with it because she obviously needed help, and you blow the fuck up. Like, I'm like, how are you mad? I'd be mad because you was saying that you didn't want to help me out, but okay. So she blows up, Molly blows up on Issa, talking about something, why did you go behind my back and get between me and my boyfriend and yada yada yada. And I feel like a part of this has to do with the fact that Issa said on the Thanksgiving episode, if I'm not mistaken, that don't bring him around your family yet because you might end up being an old Molly and mess things up. And I think she took that too much to heart, and that's why she got so upset that she went behind her back to talk to her boyfriend, because it seems like Issa already thought she was going to F up this relationship, and spoiler alert, she does. Because of course she does. But she kind of feels like, dang, you think I'm going to F up this relationship and you're getting in between us. Like, how would you even do that? But whatever. They blow up, and then the block party breaks up because apparently somebody had a gun, and it's, you know, everything kind of goes off, and we get to the next episode. Issa wakes up. And one thing that Molly said at the block party was that you always are using people. Why are you always using people? You're a user, you're always using people. And you know, I can get into that because it always seems like Issa's bending over backwards for her. It always seems like everybody else is bending backwards for her. But okay, so we get to the next episode. She wakes up and she hears those voices in her head being like, oh, you're a user. But she gets on Facebook and finds out that everybody loved the block party. The block party was great, and now she has the confidence to kind of do it again. She wants to do it again. And she, you know, Issa asked Nathan, like, hey, do you think I used you? I don't want you to think I used you in order to get that Vince Staples thing. Like, I was just needed some help. And he was like, no, you didn't use me. Like, at the end of the day, you needed help, and I could help you. Like any normal person would think. Who would have thought? And so this episode, Issa's kind of going through the idea of like, if I'm using people, maybe if I put good energy out there, I can help people. So she helped this girl at the grocery store get some groceries. She couldn't afford it. She couldn't afford it. She picks up this old man, takes him to his son's house apparently. But he's crazy. She goes to this paint and sip, helps these girls out for their bachelorette party, gives them wine. They go out to eat, and then they end up dining and dashing on her, which crazy. And so she, you know, breaks down. She calls her mom, and her mom, you know, kind of hugs her up and is like, yo, you're good at a lot of things, and you are a good person. And you know, sometimes you have growing pains. Sometimes you grow apart from people. Sometimes everybody ain't supposed to be in your path, essentially, when you're going on a path that's right for you. You find that out very well in 30s. Like late 20s, early 30s, you realize like a lot of people were meant to be on the journey with you. Like, and that's okay. And so Issa, she's going out to get some food. She walks up to this Ethiopian restaurant, sees Molly inside, and turns around. She's like, nope, I don't want to have this conversation. I don't want to be the one that has to reach out to her, because she's always the one that reaches out to her to make things right. Because if you realize, every season of this show, there has been an argument between Molly and Issa that Issa has to fix. Okay, in the first episode, we had the whole thing. I mean, the first season, we had the whole thing with when she was at We Got Y'all. She had her little mixer, and Molly was kind of being messy with the whole Daniel Lawrence thing. And then the second season, there was the whole thing with Dro, and she was telling her to stop talking to him, and she was like, I'm a grown adult, I can figure things out myself. And then come to find out she could not. Third season, they had the whole thing. Like, there was always something between them two. And yes, sometimes you have rift with your friends, but if you are always the one who is fixing the problem, maybe that person don't care. Maybe that person don't care, right? And it doesn't seem like she wants to reach out to her. So she kind of walks away, and she's like, nah, I ain't gonna be the one. Ain't finna be me, okay? And then we have the next episode, which is essentially Molly being an asshole. We can just call this Molly is an asshole episode, because Molly she saw Issa coming, and she was like, oh yeah, here she come. And Issa turned away, and she was like, oh, I can't believe she didn't, she says to Andrew, I can't believe she didn't come in and apologize to me. It's her fault. And Andrew's like, yeah. Because it seemed like, you know, that's your man gonna take your side, but it don't seem like he really thinks it was her fault. But we are going on vacation, and Molly is going on vacation with Andrew and his brother. But before then, she has a meeting that she apparently didn't know about. Her assistant didn't tell her. She curses at her assistant. She's late for the flight. She's running. And they get on this Mexican, you know, vacation. And Molly is like not really trying to go with what everybody wants to do. Like, they were supposed to be going out that night. After they got there, Molly didn't want to go. They went for a hike. She decided to do that. And then they go to this pool. And I want to rewatch I had to rewatch this part, because I didn't know exactly what sparked her to be so upset at this towel person who asked her for her room key to get a towel. And apparently there were two white people in front of her, and she said they didn't have to give her their room key, but she did. She took it as her being racist. Andrew's brother was like, maybe it wasn't racist. Devil's advocate, which then we have the conversation about, because Andrew's Asian people and black people, and how they experience racism differently, because he's like, yo, even if it was racist, just let it go. And she's like, how you gonna tell me how to deal with racism? I'm black. And he's like, I'm a minority. And she like, you don't have the same as us, and I'm gonna keep my opinions to myself. But I will say, I think Molly did not handle the situation the best way possible. Now granted, I feel like if I thought something racist happened to me and you're just dismissive of it, that is kind of insensitive, and I hate the fact that I kind of took her side on that, but she really didn't handle the situation very well either. It was just a lose-lose situation. And you know, of course, Andrew's trying to be the right person, the good boyfriend. Like, look, you know, we don't have to do anything else with them. We can kind of keep our own thing. We can go out, whatever. It just seems like you need, you know, your space. And again, another person who is consistently trying to make her happy, and she just always finds something wrong. She just gonna try to find something wrong. And so they get back to Mexico and they run into Lawrence, who we find out was in San Francisco. Next episode, ending of that episode, Lawrence is calling somebody, say, hey, you just been on my mind. Of course, it is Issa. They go on a date, talk about why they broke up. Why did you cheat on me with him? She says, oh, he was giving me attention you weren't giving me at the time. And if you really remember season 1, I get both sides. Like, I would not say cheating was okay. However, he kind of was bumming it for a minute, and she felt like, you know, you were bumming it. You weren't giving me the attention I needed. You didn't want to have sex. You didn't want to work. You didn't want to do anything. And it seemed like I was doing everything and you weren't helping at all. So I found someone who gave me attention, and I regret it, of course, but that was what I needed at the time. And they have a very mature conversation about, you know, he gave up on the relationship and did she really want him to give up? And it's cute and it's adorable. They go to an art walk together, buy some art. She finds out that he lives close to her, so they get a lift and she goes in for 5 minutes, which I knew was not going to be just 5 minutes. And throughout this episode, you see Condola is calling Lawrence so that they can talk, and he's not answering, and he's like, hey, I have to go. And she's like, well, what if I don't want to go? And of course they have sex, because I saw that coming. Yeah, who didn't see that coming? Who like, anytime that someone's like, hey, you want to come in for 5 minutes, you're gonna have sex. there is no in between. Y'all gonna have sex. It's gonna happen. So at the end of the episode in which Molly and her boyfriend were at Mexico, she calls her therapist and is like, I need a therapy session. And her therapist says something that reminded me of something my dad always used to say, and still does say. Would you rather be right and miserable or wrong and happy? Her therapist says essentially that, like, okay, all these people may have done something to you that may not have been the best, but do you have to be right all the time? Like, can you just accept that maybe we can agree we can agree to disagree? Maybe you can just let it go, but you have to prove that you're right all the time, which is the main problem in Molly's life. Like, she has to be right, and if you don't admit she's right, then she don't care no more. And her therapist says that very well. And then she continues to not take any of that advice, as she continuously does in this show. in this show. So I mean, Lawrence and Issa are together. It's cute or whatever. And you know, of course, he's not talking to Condola anymore, but Issa is still friends with Nathan, and she tells Nathan that they're together. Her and Lawrence are together, and he's like, oh well, hopefully he don't act crazy. Blah. And then he reveals to Issa that he has bipolar disorder, which I predicted last season. Didn't I say it? I said it. I should put a clip in here where I said it. And then at the end we have Nathan, who comes and is like, look, sometimes I get kind of flaky. Like, he was essentially saying, in my opinion, I think he either has like bipolar disorder or depression. But I said he had either major depression or bipolar disorder, and that's why he was dealing with so much and he had to go away. She's like, thank you for telling me, you know, now I have an understanding. And like he said in this episode, like, bipolar disorder is very misunderstood. People will assume that you're just crazy, and he didn't really want to tell anybody because, you know, he didn't feel comfortable, and that's okay too. But they're just friends now, and you know, he's like, look, I want you in my life. I just wanted to let you know, yada. So Nathan is moving from the place he has with Andrew. So they're going to that place, and they intersect with they intersect with Molly and Andrew. Forgot one part. Okay, so in the beginning of this episode, Issa and Molly go to brunch, and Issa reaches out to her because she's in a place right now where she's like, okay, I want to be friends with Nathan, and I also want to date Lawrence. I don't know who to call right now. So she calls Kelly, who's not there. She calls her brother, who's not helpful. And then she calls Molly, and they sit for brunch. They have a general conversation because Issa obviously doesn't want to bring up her problems because she thinks that she's going to be like, oh, well, all you do is talk about your problems. You're so selfish. So she just talks normally. Hey, how's work? How's things going? They have basic casual conversation, but they don't bring up exactly what happened. And so Molly is at the place where she's like, yeah, this is superficial. But Issa's like, wow, that felt really good. Like, I feel like we're on a track to become better friends. So when Nathan and Issa come in contact with Molly and Andrew, it's kind of weird because Molly hasn't actually really tried to make this relationship better. And Issa thinks that they're cool. So she's like, yeah, okay, we can stay. And they like talk and they party. They're playing drinking games or whatever. And then Molly accidentally texts Issa when she was trying to text Andrew and be like, yeah, see, I'm trying to be friends with her. As if it's like a labor for her to be friends with her. And Issa's like, I don't think he meant to send that to me. And she's like, all right, I'm gonna go. Which, yeah, I did the same thing. Molly comes out and Molly's like, well, you know, we didn't even talk about the problem that was at hand. She was like, well, you didn't bring it up. And Molly's like, why do I have to bring it up? And it's like, girl, we are not 12. We're adults. If you wanted to bring this up, you could have brought it up. And Molly was like, maybe the person you are and the person I am right now aren't meshing with each other. And hey, I feel like that's very true. I absolutely agree with that. And that seems like it will be the end of their friendship, but of course it's not, because that's the main friendship of the show. So we get to it. And before this, to get into Molly and her boyfriend, Molly was supposed to go out with Andrew and his brother to a game. She didn't want to go because she didn't want to be around her brother. And Andrew's upset because she doesn't seem like she wants to compromise. Like, yeah, okay, you don't like my brother, but if we're going to be together, you have to at least be around that nigga. Like he's my brother, and I like my brother. I love my brother. I want to be around my brother. We can't have a separate relationship if you or me are going to be somewhere. And that also comes up because, of course, they're going to break up. We already know. It's coming. I was waiting for her to ruin this relationship. I knew it was going to happen. And then we get to the last episode. Of course, Lawrence gets the job in San Francisco. I don't know if I mentioned that, but Lawrence was in San Francisco because he was trying to get a job. And he ends up getting the job. Issa's like, yo, distance isn't a problem. I still love you. We can make this work. Her and Nathan are friends. Nathan's like, look, I just wanted to let you know how I feel because, you know, even though I know you with him, I want you in my life. I want to keep you as a friend. He gives her a space for her new event that she's about to be planning, and you know, it's all cute and whatever. And then we go to Molly and Andrew, and they're at a function for Molly's work, and Molly wants to stay out, but Andrew doesn't. But they end up staying out because Molly wants to. And he starts saying, you know what, you don't ever care about what I want to do. Like, you just want to do what you want to do, and I have to do whatever you want to do. When you had to work all the time, I had to be around your schedule. When you didn't want to hang out with my brother, I had to go with that. When you, like, every time you want something, I'm compromising, but you don't compromise for me. And she's like, what? Like, I don't know what she's talking about. And then she gets a phone call because Tiffany has gone missing. Now, like I said, throughout this whole thing, Tiffany has been dealing with postpartum depression. She could see it when she was with her kid at the block party. She didn't want to go home to her kid when it was crying. She just wanted to have a good time. And you can tell that it's become stressful for her, and she just disappeared. She called her husband at 10 o'clock. He has not heard from her since. So they're trying to find Tiffany, and making a very long story short, it's a very adventurous time. Watch it if you have the time. But they get to finding out that she's at a Sheraton. Excuse me. That she's at a Sheraton, and they find her at the Sheraton, and she was like, look, I didn't really know what else to do. And throughout this journey, you know, you see Issa being like, you see Derek, her husband, being like, oh, I feel like it's my fault. Like, what have I done? I've been trying to be the best person I can. And Issa says something along the lines of, you know, everybody's a human. They make mistakes. Maybe, you know, we're just trying to figure it out. Like, you're a father. You're a great father. You're a great husband. You did everything you could. How the heck would you know? Like, how would you know how to deal with this situation? And, you know, we find Tiffany. It's cute. It's a little, I cried a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. It was a little emotional. I ain't gonna lie. And then we get back to Andrew and Molly. Molly's like, you were saying, and he was like, look, I don't think we're matched. I don't think we'll work for each other. Yes, this is the longest relationship both of us have ever had, but what the heck are we even fighting for? We don't match with each other. Which, yeah, I agree. Like, it seems like she wants to control everything, and he was trying to be the best person he can for her, but he realized that it was not the right person. And then we get to the part where I already knew what was going to happen when we find out that Condola is pregnant. Condola is pregnant with Lawrence's baby. I already knew this because everybody was joking about it. Yeah, Condola is pregnant. Now, I did not know that Issa and Lawrence were together when this happened, which makes it worse because now he's possibly going to be going to San Francisco for this job, and he got a baby on the way. Like, that's a lot. That is a lot to do with. As she said, this is a lot, okay? So it kind of seems like they're not together anymore. And at the end of this episode, we see Issa and Molly sit down to talk because, you know, as much as I want to hate on Molly and be like, F her, at the end of the day, men may go, right? When relationships come and go. But when you have good friends, you want to keep those good friends. And even though Molly's not the best friend, and I wouldn't pick her, honestly. But that's my best friend. Like, me and my best friend have had only maybe 2 arguments. We've been friends for like 15 years. But we've only had like 2 arguments. And after those 2 arguments, it wasn't like we was going to never talk again. Like, it's my best friend. Like, duh. And I have friends now where, you know, stuff happens, and as long as everyone takes accountability and is like, hey, yo, can we make this work? Can we be cool? Then, yeah, I mean, it could work out, but we see. I've heard about what season 1 is about, pretty much, season 5 is about. Pretty much all I've heard about is that Amanda Seales apparently wore an AKA outfit, and everyone is literally dying over it, which, like, A, we've known she was in AKA since the first season, and B, she just a character on a TV show, girl. I mean, I don't know where you met her. Anyway. So I am going to watch that tonight, but I wanted to put this video up because I did not want to not put it up, okay? Even though I am late, y'all still gonna get this video, okay? With that being said, if you like this video, hit the like button. Comments, questions, concerns, and suggestions, please let me know in the comment section. Do you want me to talk about season 5? Or you want me to wait till the end? What y'all want me to do? Y'all let me know. If you have any other TV shows, I'm thinking about doing A Different World because I've actually never seen it. Don't shoot me. Thinking about doing that. That would be somewhat of a Girl from the Take It Black card spin-off, like the hip hop album reviews, because I have not seen that show. I've never seen it, so I'm thinking of doing that. Y'all let me know if y'all want to see that. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button. I mean, I keep asking you, and why? Why haven't you? You know, we are very close to 800. If we can get to 800, we can get to 1,000. Then we can get to 1,000. We can get to 1,000,000. You know what? Look, math. I'll see y'all tomorrow. We got some Halloween videos going up at the end of this week. It's gonna be a good time. See you then.